Hello and welcome to Deliberately Creative. Today we're going to be doing this really cute gnome from my holiday idea pack. It's the hand-drawn holiday ideas. 20 hand-drawn designs. I am going to be drawing it on a piece of watercolor paper. You could print on cardstock like I did here. This is just on text weight paper, and I could put graphite on the back of it and just trace it. That's one way to get that design on there. But I like to draw. I'm going to make mine. He's going to be a little bit different than the original, and that is okay. Yours are going to be different than the original too. I like to start with the beard first. Now this may or may not show up on the camera very well when I'm first starting. This pen is fairly fine point. It is the Uniball Signo RT1 UMN 155N-28. I like to draw the beard on. And every time you draw a beard, it's going to be different. He's going to have a little different personality, and that is great. I'm going to put his nose on. Then I'm going to do the bottom of that hat. Like that. I'm going to have it swinging over. I don't know that it's going to curl as much. It might just tip over and be a little slouchy. I left a gap, and I left that gap so I could go like this and put 3 circles next to each other and a holly sprig. So let's see here. Let's do that line that way. If anybody's wondering what the Band-Aid is all about, I got a baker's burn on the back of my hand. That's, you know, when you go in and reach into the oven to get your cookies out. Yep. That's what I did. I hit the rack with the back of my hand. So there we go. Now, his body, just come down with 2 lines. His arms, I like to start all the way up in his beard or his hat, because his hat is like really squishing down. So I'm going to start all the way up here and make a little line going both ways. Just put like a little ball at the bottom, just a little arc like that. And I may go ahead and fix that line and not even worry. Oh, he's so cute. Put a few little lines in his beard. We're not going to do any more decoration on him. We're not giving him a mustache. We're not doing any of that kind of stuff. I want to put a couple more holly leaves in. I think I'm going to be a little more frugal with my holly leaves and not put quite so many in. We're going to put some berries. Like that. So you can put these in wherever you want. He's standing in a little pile of holly berries. Now I can color this, I can paint this. I'm going to paint it. I'm going to paint it in with my Holbein gouache, and I might go back in with a little bit of colored pencil to add a little bit of detail. Because, you know, you want to get your cards done. This is getting a little bit late for cards, I know, but you could make this into tags. You could do this little guy and put him on a frame. Put him in a frame. I wouldn't put him on the, well, you could put him on a frame, I guess. A few little berries here and there. This is really doodling. But you notice that gnome got done super fast. Put a couple more berries down here. And maybe one more leaf kind of swinging up. You see these leaves are just outward scallops. You want to have little pointies. There you go. That's pretty cool. That's actually very cool. I think needs a little bit more of a leaf right here. There. All right, we're going to get this painted in. This pen is waterproof. All right, this is the Holbein gouache. See, I'm going to be doing green on the leaves, red on the berries. Green on the leaves, red on the berries. So I need his outfit to be a little bit different. I think we are going to go with blue for this. I think he's going to be ultramarine blue. Yeah, this is the deep ultramarine blue. And I'm going to go in. I'm coloring on watercolor paper because I drew on watercolor paper. And I'm using this kind of like watercolor right now. I want to get the base color in. And then I'll go back in and put some shadows and such with slightly thicker watercolor or slightly thicker gouache. You could do this with gouache, you can do it with watercolor, you could do it with acrylic. Have fun, enjoy the process. This is a number 8 round brush. I tend to like a slightly bigger brush, like an 8 or a 10 or a 12, just because it holds so much water and pigment. I've done gnomes on my channel. This is definitely my style of gnome. So if you like my style of gnome, check out my other gnome videos. I'm going to be posting a couple shorts. So if you're interested in just getting the basic how to draw the little guy, I have a how to draw a gnome in less than a minute video. I am not painting the beard right now. The beard will have some kind of gray blue type shadows. There we go. We're going to get the hat in. I hope that you are enjoying the winter season. That if you are someplace where it's cold and snowy, that you are warm and dry and safe. If you're someplace where it's warm and sunny, that this is bringing up those fantasies of a cool and cozy winter. If you're taking your winter down onto the beach, have fun. I am in the Pacific Northwest. So it is cool. It's like in the upper 30s. It is wet and rainy and gray. And I love it. I love where I live. I think if I were to live any place else, it would be someplace that had a very similar climate. It's very temperate. We have a decently long growing season for the summer vegetables and flowers. So I'm starting to build up a little bit of my color just to deepen it up. If I go outside my lines, it's no big deal. This is a hand painted card. And because I'm talking, I am not being as mindful. But you know what? It's fun because you can do these really quick. And once you've drawn your own design onto paper, you can take and do anything you want with it. You know, gnomes are one of those things. The Tomty? I think that's it. I've got a felt gnome how to make a cute little felt gnome. Over the years, I've noticed that, yeah, I do like gnomes a lot. Now I'm taking some darker, less wet strength of the paint, and I am going in under his beard and around the edges and down at the bottom. The paint is still wet underneath the back, the bottom layer is still wet, so the paint is blurring out. Along the edges. That's one of the things, one of those tricks. If you don't really know where you need to put your shadows, if you put it along the outside edge of things, like along the outside edge of his sleeve, and right down here next to the body, look at what happens. It gives him shape. So have fun. I'm going to soften up that shadow a little bit. I'm going to make it darker down deep in here, around where the berries are going. I am going to put a little bit of color pencil on to detail my berries probably. So that way I can just go in and put some color on real quick. All right. A little bit of shadow up here under that edge. Painting in isn't hard. It doesn't take any more thought really than doing it with colored pencil, if you are willing to accept the imperfections as you go along. So I'm willing to accept imperfection. Imperfection to allow it to have a handmade look. And it's a card. You really don't want to spend an hour per card unless you're giving your card as the actual gift. Then please spend as long as you want. By pulling some lines going across, like that, it's giving it that shape, that feel of being kind of rounded. I'm going to soften up that color there. I did not change my blue. All I did was change the amount of water I was using. That's one of the really cool things with the gouache, is that as you use less and less water, it's really easy for it to become more opaque, more solid feeling. I am going to put in the greens of these leaves, and I'm making a decision right now, is that the bottom half of every leaf, or the right hand side, bottom half or right hand side towards the bottom, is going to be a darker green, and then the top side is going to be lighter, and I am going to use two different greens. So I've got an emerald green and this is a permanent green deep. So permanent green deep is going to be my shadow color, and I'm just going to go in fairly thick with the paint and just color in. Just like that. So if you're hanging out with me in the premiere, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I know that I'm chatting in the live chat. It's one of the reasons why I like the premieres better than the live streams, is that I can do the video, get it all edited, get it all made pretty for you guys, and then I can just relax during the chat. and just chat and answer questions. It's really nice to be able to answer questions right on the chat. Let's see, that was permanent green. And it's fun to meet people from around the world. So come on in, hang out with us. We're a very friendly group. Now I'm going to back off my brush just a little bit so I can get up on the tip. A little bit better. There we go. And even though there's ones that are going to be underneath, I'm still doing everything kind of that flat green. It's kind of hard to make those kinds of decisions. Oops, I'm slobbering on my painting there. I have one of those things where I don't know if anybody else does. I know other people do, where you have kind of that fountain under your tongue and it kind of squirts. What is it? Gleek? It gleeks, which is sort of a spray. Oh, that I don't need to go there. Anyhow, so here we go. We're almost done with the dark green. Going underneath. Need a little bit more wet. So you can do up these cards so quick and easy. Oh, there's two more. One over here. Oh, I just did it on, well, this is the bottom edge. I'm making a command decision here. This is the bottom edge. It's tipped down. Sometimes you lose the plot halfway through the show. I love that we can do mixed media on these cards. You could add glitter. You could... That would be kind of fun. You could add glitter to them. You can... Oh, I forgot that I had these guys up here. Right-hand side. Yeah, I have a hard time finishing my sentences when I'm painting because you're using both sides of your brain when you're talking and painting at the same time. So I'm... and I'm trying to not put my hand into wet paint down here. So yeah, glitter it up. Grab those metallic paints. You know, give it some bling if you want. I like my little guy to be a little cold and frosty and kind of natural. So I am going to rinse out and grab the that emerald green. Let's see. Yeah, the emerald green's good. It's kind of on the blue side. And I'm going to try and keep it lighter. I might add a little bit of yellow. I think I want some yellow added. Rinse my brush. Grab some, I'm going to grab this yellow. This is the permanent yellow. Oh yeah, there we go. That's a better green. That's a brighter green. I've got a lot of water in my brush right now. There we go. Let's just set it there. So gouache is a little bit less finicky when you're laying layers of gouache next to each other. If the paper is fairly dry, you can kind of puzzle piece your bits in. If it's really wet and you're really using it thin like watercolor, then you need to wait until everything is dry. But I wouldn't go in and put my red berries right next to this lighter green right now, because my lighter green is super, super wet. But look at this. See how quick this goes in? Yeah. Oh my. I just want to go quiet and just paint these in. And I know that I have a big part of my audience that likes to see every single step. If you're somebody who wants to have it all done super quick, I am putting up shorts of these videos also. I'm over on Instagram too, so sometimes you'll see reels of things more quickly over on Instagram than you will on YouTube. So just as a heads up, come follow me on Instagram also for a little bit more instant a little bit more in the immediate time zone or time. All right, I'm going to grab a little bit of that dark now and touch in some of these spots where it is underneath or at the base. Touch a little bit of that green, the darker green, into the bright green where it's sort of overlapping. That's giving us a third green color basically. See, just like that. That's looking good. While we are waiting for this to kind of dry, I am going to get a little bit of the white, and I need just drop that down right there, and I'm going to grab a little bit of the rose. I'm going to put a little bit of the rose on his nose, just on the top, and on his hands, kind of leaving an edge. That's all I'm doing for that. I'm going to make a little bit of a gray. So since I have this blue down here, I'm just going to take a tiny, tiny touch of the burnt sienna, and that was a little bit more burnt sienna than I wanted. I want to make a gray, and I'm going to use this as the shadow under his nose. under the hat, and on these little beard-like shadow marks. Looky, looky. That's coming together so well. Let's see. It's a little dark right there. I'm going to pull that up. A little bit darker, right up next to the brim. Push it back in. A little bit of that blue came down. That's okay. There. And once the hands are dry, I'll go back in with a little bit of gray. There we go. I'm going to dry this really quick. I'm going to start putting some color in on these berries. And what I'm going to do is grab, this is the carmine. And I'm going to put carmine on the underside of the berries. Coming up about halfway, but doing it sort of in an arc. If the berry is underneath of anything, I'm going to bring that color right up underneath also. There we go. But leave a spot of light. And the only time you don't really leave light is if it's completely covered underneath. I'm actually going to just put some of that red all around in that spot. Lots of water. It's kind of loose. You can, adjust your berries if you need to. You can add more. It's fun to do this. It's fun to create something that's never existed before. I mean, really, that even when you're just doing a card, and I say just doing a card is one of those kind of like acts of love that we do for our very dear friends and family. Put some red there. See, you can add some extra berries here and there if you need to. Balance it out. Add a little extra red underneath of leaves. See, I think there needs to be a couple more over here. And maybe a couple more down here. Just making some bloopity circles and leaving a spot of white. You can always go back in and add a little bit of white gel pen. I will be, as soon as that's dry. There we go. While I am waiting for that to dry, I'm going to take some of that gray that I mixed up. I'm going to put a little bit of it down here. I'm going to stay away from the red. Whoops, I say that and boom. Oh well. It's okay, It's all colors that are in the card. I just want to make it feel like it's not totally floating in air. If you want him floating in air, you can. If you want to you know, before I put the shadow on, he would have been a really cute little sticker to cut out, wouldn't he? Print him, you know, take a picture, print him up on sticker paper. Just putting a little bit of shadow on his hands. Maybe a little bit of that gray up here on the hat under the... Whoop. Oh, well. You know what? That's kind of cool. The serendipity, the things that happen just because they happen. I like that. I like the little bits of the red blurring out. That's fun. Makes it feel a little bit more immediate, a little more a little less contrived. There we go. If you mess with it too much though, it will start getting muddy, and we don't want to mess with it too much. Although that's too much red that's come down. I'm just going to pick some of that up. There. That's good. I like it. I think on the tip of his nose is going to get just a little bit more red. A little more rose. A little more rose on that nose. A little more rose on his hands too. There we go. I think that this is a really cute. Now, you could make some splats in the background. All right, this is some sparkle. I think I'm going to sparkle up his background just a little bit. There we go. And now add some water to it, and I'm going to give him a little bit of snow. A little bit of sparkle coming down. These could be raindrops. These can be snowflakes. They're going to have just a tiny little bit of shimmer. I'm going to dry it real quick. This is my favorite white pen. It is the Uniball Signo UMN 153. I am going to go in and put a little spot on his nose. Maybe touch in some of these berries. Just giving a little spot like that. On some of these leaves, I think I'm going to put that center line. And you can do as much or as little as makes you happy. Don't think that you have to go in and, you know, do everything that I'm doing. I'm putting a little bit of the white as a highlight on his hat and his coat. Getting a little bit up here on these leaves. So much fun. I hope you enjoyed coming along with me. Remember that this design is available in my hand-drawn idea pack, and it's available on Teespring. Remember to go out, do something creative, take care of yourself so you can take care of those you love. I want to see you back here again really soon. Bye-bye.